something I'm still working on, is being able to take the kind of large realm that I'm working in and bring it into a concrete communication. You know, so anything you write, anything you put on your website, anything you put on your promotional materials, having it be as simple and as accessible as possible. Just making it so it's accessible, so it feels inviting. Like, I got one client years ago who I just work with today. I think I've been working with her for over 4 years. And she was in my little dance class at the Women's Fitness Center. It was just like a dance class, not any kind of conscious thing, although everything is. And she said, she responded to, what was it? Like, have your feelings and continue to function. Just a line, just that simple. Like, you can be in an emotional, you can have an emotional response, and you can still show up to your life. You don't have to stuff it. You don't have to collapse on the floor. You don't have to throw it out at everybody, but you can actually learn how to be with what's going on and still be with the task at hand. So she responded to that. So I just named that because it's so simple. You know? Keep it really simple and clear would be my invitation.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's a great advice. Yeah, it's true because, well, you know, especially when it comes to, well, any kind of marketing communication, it's speaking to, it's almost like if you can talk in a way a fifth grader can understand, you're probably going to do okay in your marketing, you know. And as I know that especially a lot of people watching this or listening to this have had a lot of training, have had a lot of education, and we tend to try to sound smart. But I love what you're saying is be accessible. Don't be afraid to speak very simply, because that way, it feels more real, more relatable. So I love it.
Yeah, and be yourself. And I think you just said something really important, which is don't try to be smart. Just don't try. Just be. You know, because the trying, I feel like the trying also can translate into grasping for, like, you're trying to get clients.
Right.
To a hard sell. And a hard sell, at least for someone like me, is the easiest way to send me packing in the other direction.
Right.
Like giving me space. If you give space and it's an open invitation and it's welcoming and you feel sincere and that you have something to offer to the person, let them come, let them respond, let them feel, you know, just feel invited.
Yeah. And to keep planting seeds and not digging in the soil to see if the seed grew.
That's right.
Yanking up the little root and say, is it ready?
Yeah, the plant won't thrive if you uproot it when it's just a little sprout.
Okay, so one thing that I'd be curious then from this discussion is, you mentioned that you know, as your daughter grew up, you had the necessity to create an income to support yourselves, and at the same time you know the importance of being grounded and not grasping and not being needy. So what would you advise to someone, or maybe from your own experience, just what if someone were in a place where they're like, oh my gosh, they're feeling some financial stress. They want clients. Maybe, whether or not they're in stress, they feel the stress of not having enough clients. And so there's a feeling of necessity there, and yet they don't want to be graspy. Any advice for someone like that?
It's a good question.
And it's a tough one.
It's an important question because it's real.
Yeah.
You're just starting out your business, so you're not really quite generating enough money, at least at the get-go. You know?
Well, or it could be someone who has been trying for 3 years, 2 years, 3 years, and maybe they have followed marketing gurus that told them this is the formula to get you 6 figures or 7 figures or whatever that may be, and it hasn't worked for them. And so, but either way, they're in a situation where they don't have enough clients, and it's easy to feel desperate, and it's easy to hold on to anybody who would listen to them. You know, so any advice? And I'm asking you particularly because I know you have so much experience in grounding and and being real. And it's so easy for you, but what any advice you have for
Well,
us?
it's easy for me, and I've certainly, you know, full disclosure, I've gone through my moments of feeling that contraction
Yes.
around like, oh no, there's not enough, you know?
Yes. Yes.
And that, in my experience, it's like stepping on the garden hose. If you want the water to come out, don't step on the garden hose. That
Okay.
actually impedes the flow of life, you know? And this grasping energy is not attractive. It is not universally attractive. It will not attract clients. People can sense it. You know, it's like dogs can sense fear, you know?
Yeah.
So like if you feel yourself stepping on the garden hose, what I would say, and if you were with me sitting here, which you are in a moment, I would say take some deep breaths, pause, track that mechanism, the actual sensations that arise and thoughts that arise, because it might be mental. It might be like, oh no, what if, and I'm not going to have, and you know, whatever those thoughts are. And then the feeling, which most likely is some sort of contraction, maybe in your chest, maybe in your jaw, maybe here, wherever it is, and just feel that and just let yourself feel the fear. And don't act out of fear, but let yourself kind of, we can say, be with or turn toward the fear. It's not the place to act from. And also what I have learned and what I continue to learn is that being an entrepreneur, well, being in life, but in this context, being an entrepreneur really requires trust. You're not doing it alone. It's not about you, you know, doing, and like writing your blog and doing this and going to a networking meeting and doing this. And then all of this is like, oh, contract, even though you're in action.
Yeah.
So let yourself feel the fear, pause, and recognize that we're not alone in this in existence. You know, it's like tag teaming with the universe, tag teaming with, you know, the universal energy, you might call it, the flow of life, right? You just tag team, it's team play. It's team play, and you can continue to take action, to show up at the meetings, to sit in your office and say, I am here, universe. Send me clients, you know, send me clients. You can write out a list. Sometimes if I'm teaching a workshop, I'll actually take a piece of paper and I'll write down numbers 1 to 10 or 1 to 20, or I have in my women's group that I run that runs for a 1-year cycle, that's a limit of 12 women. And so I write down 1 to 12 and I just ask the universe, I say, here's the container, fill it up. But I'm not going like, oh no, are they going to come? Are they going to come? That will get in your way. So I would just say, turn toward that fear, because if you contract, you are stepping on the garden hose of the flow of the universe. And the universe actually is on your team. Like, we're not separate from that flow until we clamp down on it. And then we separate ourselves out.
Okay.
Do what you can to meet the moment and then say, okay, it's going to happen. And one other thing I want to say is that in my experience, private practice, it ebbs and flows. You know, people come and go, and it will ebb and it will flow. And just to, as much as possible, stay in the center of yourself, keep taking action, keep showing up, and just trust. Like life does this.
Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful. That's really great. And I know from your business that even in the ebbs and flows, you are making, you know, more money than most life coaches. I'll tell you that. You're definitely making a full-time living, and your ebb and flow, and I think mine as well. It's sort of like this. It's not like it's like this. It's kind of gradually rising, and you know, until a sustainable level that we want to be at. Right. So spending a little bit, another minute on that concept of turning toward the fear. Now, even that idea is scary, right? so walk us through it to the other side, where somehow it dissolves, or what is the positive side of then what happens after you turn toward the fear?
Right. I love that you're interested in this. This is what I'm interested in, because it could be fear, it could be anything. We're just using fear,
sadness, anger, right?
Anger, any feeling.
Yeah.
So what I know about feelings is that they are finite. If you stay with it, if you turn your attention, and if you're with me, if I'm sitting with someone, I might ask them to close their eyes. I might have them stand up. I might just have them, take a position, which might be moving, and it also might be still. It doesn't need to be moving. There's still movement happening even when you're just sitting down. Turning all your attention. You might close your eyes and turn all your attention and go in the direction which seems so counterintuitive because it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And the fruits of turning toward is that, just as you said, George, the feeling moves. You find that it has an end, and you will find something else that actually is alive and well deep inside you. So the more you can recognize that fear and all these other emotions, they're just like the waves on the surface of the ocean, right? And there's something else that is alive at the depths, and so if you're willing, it takes a willingness too. And you don't have to force it and like try. Just be willing to be uncomfortable. And if you can only do it for 2 seconds, great. Do it for 2 seconds. That's enough. You'll know. You're a self-regulating organism. And that's why it's useful to work with someone who can just be there with you as you go through it. And every time you move through something, you be with something, your whole system learns how to do it. It's creating these new neural pathways. It's creating deeper trust in your whole system so that you increase your bandwidth for being present with whatever arises. And most of it comes and goes.
Oh, beautiful. Yes. I like that a lot. Yeah. Well, do you have any resource that you would recommend, such as a blog, a podcast, website, or a book for someone who wants to build a coaching business, or anything that comes to mind for you?
A particular, I feel like I've gathered my resources from so many places. I don't feel like it's any one book. George is great.
Thank you.
I love George. George is a very deep resource of a lot of different ways and very practical and brilliant, and just really it's about listening. Cultivate your inner listening, and then trust when a resource or a book or a podcast, just stay open. Stay open and connected without being grasping or shy. For me, it's about coming from your center, coming from yourself, coming from self-love, really deep self-love, that it's out of love for yourself in the deepest way that you want to offer your gifts, because you want to be of service, because you want to play your role and step into your life purpose here on the planet in this flash in the pan called life.
Yeah. Wow. I love it. So how can people connect with you? How would you like them to reach out to you if they want to reach out?
Yeah, I would totally welcome you to contact me. You can check out my website, which is www.theresponsivebody.com. And you're also welcome to call me. I'm happy to dialogue with you. If you want to contact me by phone, you can do that at 415-215-2849. I feel like
very generous.
Speaking in person is something that's very useful.
Yeah. And I know that you work with people, you were able to work with people from all over the world. I know right now